Okay, a little bit about the Bevel and Emboss layer style. Layer styles are down here on this little part of your layer panel, and you have to be on a layer, not a background layer, to use them essentially because they work on the layers, giving them dimension, texture, all kinds of things. So I'm going to make a new blank layer, and I'm just going to fill it with something. Let me make a circle and fill it with the foreground color. Okay, so when we go to the layer styles here, Bevel and Emboss is the one I want to talk about. And that one adds dimension, or the feeling of dimension. So let's take a look at that rather intimidating dialog box. You have several different bevel options, the style of bevel. Inner bevel is the one that it's set on right now. And the higher you set the size, the more pitch it has, the more height it will seem to have coming towards you. So think of us looking down on something that's shaped like circular but not flat. So this gives it dimension coming up. You can also switch to down, which is just going to change the lighting pattern on it. Sometimes you'll need to do this just to make it fit with your lighting pattern. Soften will increase the amount of fall off, the way it goes. So if I'm doing that, it's really subtle, but it just kind of softens this edge where the up part that goes up meets the part that's flat. All right. Down here is the angle of the light. So this is, think of your starting point as the center point, and this is the direction you're looking towards to see the sun. So in this case, it would be directly above your head. If I go over here, it's, off to the up in the upper left corner. So that's the direction the sun would be in, or your main light, that kind of thing. Gloss contour is pretty cool because this can give you different effects. This is a little more advanced, but generally the ones I tend to use are the ones that look like M or W, and that gives it a metallic effect. So it gives it more of a glossy effect depending on what you're doing. See how that's kind of added a shine to it there? But the default one is generally, 90% of the time that's where I am. Okay? Let's go back. Screen is the amount of brightness in the highlights. So if you want brighter highlights, see how up here it's getting brighter. When I go to the other way, our highlights basically have disappeared. So you're controlling the amount of highlight there. This is your shadow. So if I want less deep shadows, I go to the left. If I want much deeper shadows, I go to the right. It's like everything, use it the way you want to see it. It's WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. So I'm going to just put that there. And let's talk about the different style of bevels. The different style. Outer bevel is basically, it kind of looks flattened out, and the bevel is underneath. You can't really see it. Don't use that one very much. Inner bevel I use a lot. Emboss kind of sets it into something, so it almost looks like a button kind of sitting in fabric. So it's down just a bit, gives that kind of sense. Pillow emboss at just a little bit more of that, where it's kind of set into a texture. Like if I add a texture here, I'd have to get out of here, but if I added a texture to the background layer, then this would kind of sit into that texture. So I like pillow emboss. I use it a little bit. Stroke emboss is if you have a stroke on your whatever it is. So let me show you that. I'm going to click. So we do have a bevel and emboss inner bevel, which is the one I use the most. I'm going to come in here and add a stroke to this. So there's the stroke. Let me add enough of a stroke so you can really see it. And let me add a color that's going to also let you see it. So I'm going to do pink. So if I go back now to the bevel and emboss and add a stroke emboss there, I don't want the stroke emboss to be so big that it's wider than the stroke, because then we kind of lose the sense of it. So there we go. So it's putting the emboss on the stroke there rather than the whole thing. It's a little weird to see, but let me see if I can. Yeah, it's just a little hard to kind of visualize, but it's putting the emboss on the stroke instead of the entire thing. So that is pretty much, I guess if you put it like, see how it's not affecting the middle at all? There we go. So it's just affecting the stroke. I brought the size up to show you that. Let's see what else. Any style that you make, you can save as a new style. It goes into your styles panel. So if you're using the same, say you're making a website and you're making the same kind of thing over and over, and you want to keep the style consistent, you can save the style under new style, and it gives you some options for saving there. For instance, you can add it to your library. You can include the current layer blend. So that kind of thing. So I'm not going to add that style to my panel because I don't really need it. So that is Bevel and Emboss in a nutshell. And bevel, see how it's coming into the entire thing there? That's just the difference between bevel the stroke and bevel the whole thing. I think that's about it for Bevel and Emboss. Hope that helps you out. That's it.